All right, everyone, we're going to call to order this meeting, the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee for February 3rd at 1:30 p.m. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could do roll call.
Ken Frieder here.
Paul Leogrand here.
Tamara Zahn here.
Bill Spargrove here.
Gary Runyon here.
Paul Flores here.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll start. Is there any public comment? Anyone signed up for comment? No? Anyone online?
No one online.
Okay, great. We'll move to action log review. So for those that can't see on the screen, we're pulling the action log up. Everything that's in gray should be taken care of. We have added a few things at the bottom. Yeah. So if we look at the Rec Desk software questions, I was able to get back to Carrie responses on some of those things. I was able to determine that there are transaction fees. Right. So I'm not sure, Carrie, if you got a chance to go through that, but with the software option, there are transaction fees, I believe, of 3% on each transaction. There's usually a cap on that based on total amount, but something to review there. I do feel that the responses back from them were good. It seems that they have the majority of my questions were answered, and I feel confident that their infrastructure is good. I think they have a good plan as far as implementation goes. I think they have a decent support plan in place. So all of that I feel confident about.
That wasn't the Rec Desk. That was the.
It was the one that they use up in, you said?
Civic Plus?
Civic Plus, yeah. Sorry.
Civic.
Yeah, Civic Plus.
And it's rec management. They had a little bit better. Answered all the questions pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
Let me just kind of go over that with you. If we might end up having a special meeting with this or with PRAC here. And go forward and kind of go through the Civic Plus software and have a representative online so that he can answer questions. And that's all we're going to do for that day is just have that quick meeting and discuss that, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
So I'll let you know. I'll send out a notification, try to get timeframes for when you guys can meet, but it probably within 2 weeks.
Great.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome. And then we're adding something to the action log. And it's basically the analysis that I have in paper form today. I will make sure Georgia gets a copy of it. But it's what we discussed last time as far as the parking situation. So I wrote up an analysis and I included it for everyone to look at today. If we have time, we could look at it. We could discuss it. I think we should, because I believe the Board of Supervisors will be voting on it at the next meeting officially. So it's kind of urgent. I know it's not on an official agenda item, but I think we need to insert it into today.
I need to report in. Joe Schofield reporting in at 1:33.
Hey, Joe, thanks.
And this is Tamara Zahn. Paul, did we get on, or Carrie, did we get on the agenda so that we could present that to the Board of Supervisors? Parking, yes.
They haven't ran that agenda yet, have they?
Yes.
Wasn't that our
It's
goal?
out. All right.
But we were going to be a public
Submit it through
comment.
the report.
We were going to submit it through the report
be a public
after this
comment. Okay.
meeting.
And it's public comment.
And then it's public
Okay.
comment. So the form that I wrote up today, that's why I want to review it, right? Because in my report, right after this meeting, we need to make sure that this is included. and then it'll be public comment.
Well, my understanding is we're having a workshop,
That's separate,
Separate.
and that is before or after the board? meeting?
after the board meeting.
After, okay.
And that'll be discussed
All right.
on our items for discussion.
Right. Okay. All right. I looked over the January 6th PRAC meeting minutes. I didn't see anything that was not correct in there. Can we approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Joe.
A second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Financial report for December. There's nothing different or anything that stood out here for me. Any questions, issues, concerns anyone has?
This is Carrie Runyon from Parks and Recreation. I do want to kind of explain to you the pool decking and resurfacing for 160. We are in the process. We did put a purchase order in for that by the end of December. And we are working with Superior Surfacing and their sub, which is a plumber type of person, because we're looking at the drains and we want to make sure that it's drained properly, the deck, once you put that surfacing in there. So we're hoping to start the drains, the concrete work, the beginning of March for 2 weeks. It'll be closed. And then that's the pool. And then we'll come back and they'll do the surfacing the next month. So that's kind of where we stand. It's not all in stone yet, but that's where we're looking at for dates.
For the benefit of people that don't use the pool, there are no drains in there right now, are there?
Yes, there's drains right now, but they're 30 plus years old and I don't know, there's like little holes underneath and I don't know if they're going anywhere.
Yeah.
And they fill up with everything, dirt and grime and everything else. So to be able to even replace those grates, they don't make that size anymore. So we have to go to a 4-inch drain.
Sounds good.
Is that a code requirement too?
They have drains?
The drains in that, the sizing and all that?
No, that's, no.
Okay.
Okay, that's-
Anything else on the financial report? Right, moving along, items for discussion. So the PRAC and Board of Supervisors workshop topics. So Tamara, you want to mention what you wrote?
Yeah, I did put together, Carrie, I've just set it on your desk, some little talking points for us, just as a discussion, and you can pass a couple of those down. Again, these are just my thoughts based upon our conversations last month. And we can add it, we can delete, but I just wanted to throw out a few things because there was a lot of discussion on, do we have a budget? Should we have a budget? We want a budget, et cetera. So a couple things I thought of, there's, I think 4 main ones is a status we talked about on some of the previous things we submitted to the Board of Supervisors, the pavilion, when it's going in, if it's going in, and then I put status of the fun park recommendations, but I couldn't recall if prior to me, if we actually put together a pitch for them.
We did.
We did. It was, yes. Okay. So kind of where are the where are we on those? Are they in a queue? Are they forgotten about? Are they on a priority list? Something like that. Then the next thing is what we talked about last week is when we make recommendations. We've talked about, hey, we need a budget because we don't know if we're making recommendations that are, way out there and out of reach. We don't know what the budget is. So I think it's important that we let them know that that's how we feel, and maybe that's okay. Do we need to try to change this? Or does the board look at those recommendations with the association and they obtain estimates? Because I'm assuming we can't all go out there and talk to companies. We can't go ask for estimates or things like that. So I think that that's the board, and maybe that's okay. So maybe it's the status quo, but I know that was a kind of a concern for all of us. We didn't want to just willy-nilly go out there and say, hey, we want this project for $100 million or, $5,000 or whatever to get an idea.
Great for them to explain the process.
Just understand that process. And if they say,
Absolutely.
no, we just want you to bring the ideas, then we need to understand that. And that's all we do is bring the ideas. Because if the answer is no, we want you to get estimates, then who does that rely on? We got a one-man office here that can get off, I think we have to be careful what we ask for, is all I was saying there. Or let's hear it from them what their expectations are. And then is there a specific month in which they want us to present the new recommendations? Because I think this year we did a better job getting ahead of things before the budget. But then we heard, well, that'll be in the budget in 2 years, right? So everything's off the table for at least 2 years and we need to know that, and we're putting in for 2028 or something like that. And then just asking for the board to clarify our purpose and how can we be useful. Obviously, we know one of our things is assisting with community events anytime that we can, as far as the recreation goes. But what else? So should we be take surveys on things when we come up with ideas and provide that to them? Is that our responsibility, or do we give them the ideas and they want to do that? I don't know. These are just some thoughts that I put down. So
Have you ever seen The Office?
The Office?
The
No.
movie The Office? That's what I feel like sometimes. Right? It's like, I'm a people, basically the moral of the story
show,
is,
The Office.
yeah, like basically the moral of the story is like, there's people and like, what do you do here? Well, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
Well, I take this and I move it here. It's like, what, we need substance there. What exactly are
So-
we doing?
I wrote down a few of the kind of headlines for the discussion
Okay.
with Board of Supervisors. I thought communication, direction from Board of Supervisors to the PRAC, including expectations, budget, community events, surveys, that type of thing, direction and communication from them to you guys. You need to know that.
Okay, let's take that first. Let's take this like.
Remember, you got 60 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
In this workshop, we have 60
Yes.
minutes, right? So that's why I kind of want to take these things and not make them broad, but give them like,
Yeah.
okay, communication. This is what our expectation is of the Board of Supervisors. Do you agree with that, or is it different? Boom, 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 right down the line, right? Communication, we expect A, B, and C. So let's tackle that first, because really, if I could get up there or whatever the workshop looks like, if we could say, here's topic A, it's communication. It needs to focus on, when are you giving us updates? When are we giving you updates? What does that look like, right?
And then vice versa, this is Tamara is on, vice versa, what is the board's expectations of us? Right.
Okay, that goes into what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But I think that's a separate thing, honestly,
Well-
Tamara.
Okay.
It is and it isn't.
I think it's a big enough topic. I don't want it to blow up. It's a big enough topic where we could get off course, right? Communication is just like, what's the procedure? How do we talk to you? How do you talk to us? Let's just nail that one down.
Okay, so communication, direction from Board of Supervisors to PRAC,
Right.
number one.
And from PRAC to Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
What's the
And
communication?
then back, okay. And then
budget, we said, right?
and that's including the expectations too.
So a
right?
sub-bullet for that so that we don't forget that it's part of it. Because I think to Paul's point is that top line is broad. And like you said, it's including a lot of things, but unless we put sub-bullets underneath there, we're likely to forget.
Expectations, budget. Those are the two things you're talking about a
And
lot.
communication back and forth. Yeah, which you
And
have that one
communication.
clearly. Yeah.
Okay,
So
All
those
right.
are kind of three different, yeah.
okay.
Right, there are 3 bullet points that
Right.
we
Yeah.
wanted. So if, again, right, if we have 60 minutes, the first thing is communication, the second thing is budget. And when it comes to budget, I would say we need a really simple and clear understanding of is there separation for Parks and Rec? What does that look like? How do we have access to it? And what role do we play within the budget?
There's
Well,
one large
I
group
think-
that would certainly like to know that answer, sitting west of us here.
I think it gets back to what the expectations are of us as a group. And I think from there, we may have a better idea, what's,
I agree 100%, Ken. I just don't want, I don't want to bring that in just yet. I'm kind of leading up to that, right? I want them to be able to answer the specifics first, right? Because I'm worried that we're going to get to what is your expectation of us? Like, what do you want this group to do? And they're going to be like, well, just do what you're doing. So I'm bringing the main points of what's going to lead us there in first, so we could get at least thoughts. Listen, I am not looking to pin them to the wall. I don't think they're thinking about us in the capacity they need to, and I don't think we're in alignment with them. So that's why I want to start it with communication. Like, we need to fix how like what we're getting and how we're talking, and what that leads up to what we're doing here, right? Okay.
Okay.
Well, they are a decision-making body and we're an advisory body. And I have the feeling we need clarification on what that means exactly.
100%. Okay.
Then the other thing I was looking at is the Fun Park, future ideas and projects. Pavilion at the Commons Park, where are we on that, right?
Yep.
Do you want to talk about the Sherman Soccer Complex, or you think that's going to be a mute
Well,
point?
yes, but they're going to vote. That's going to be a done deal, right?
By then, the 19th, they're voting on it next meeting. Yeah, I mean,
I say yes, because regardless of what happens,
You want to give your input?
yes.
well, we could give our input, and it could be an example of either
Right.
one, how we are able to provide input and they hear it and listen, or how we are able to provide input and they don't hear or listen. It may validate the lack of communication or vice versa. So
Right. It's impact on a whole, right? Yeah, I agree. I think we should.
And they did hear from Tim Miller at the board meeting. So they've got that side of it as well.
I think that'll fill up your 60 minutes.
I think it will.
Okay. All right. Okay, next. So I spent some valuable time putting together a resolution for the Parks and Recreation kind of rules, policies, or procedures, more or less. Due to the fact that we're bringing in a new park facility, I needed to update what was written when I first came on in 2024. So you'll see the Exhibit A, which kind of explains to you a little more information on the policies and procedures of parks. And then we had to do a resolution to kind of solidify that and put it in the Muni Code, I guess. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it.
I have not, but I would like to read it for sure.
Is this in our packet that's online?
Yes, this is in your packet. And if you want to,
I mean, we could just go through
Is there anything?
highlight
yeah.
the,
Well, Carrie, I was going to ask, is there anything that is outside the scope of standard for parks?
No.
That we need to, because when I skimmed through it, I didn't see anything that stood out that differentiates us, right?
no, we
Seems
just.
to be pretty standard to the code, correct?
It is, and I just kind of made some definitions. I've looked at other municipalities, and really nothing has really changed that much. I just kind of spelled it out a little bit more. I can tell you we've We did add, trying to think with the two things here. Soccer fields, we kind of added things like, no, what is that called? The no metal detectors on soccer fields.
Okay.
You know, I mean.
Oh, you can't dig up
why-
the soccer field? Okay, got
Yeah, no digging up the soccer field, please. That was one of the things I had to add. But for the most part, it's,
It looks pretty generic. I mean, like you would expect
yeah, it's
people to
nothing.
behave in a park, yeah.
Correct.
And I didn't see any issues with it. I was thinking it was probably just a standard update because it hasn't been in a few years.
We never had one established as a resolution. We only had an approval from Parks and Rec and the Board of Supervisors, but we never had it actually in writing. So we wanted to make sure that we have this opportunity to do it before we open up the.
Does this
new
get
facility.
filed with the county or anything as an official
It's-
park? Is that the
it's an official
plan?
document, right?
Yes, it'll
Okay.
get ratified by the Board of Supervisors so that we have a good basis for not only operationally, but also enforcement, hours of operation. And then based upon this, we'll start working on our policies and procedures, I guess, and then bring that, so it's kind of like the basic.
The basis, the foundation. for it.
Foundation of
Yeah.
what we're looking forward to in the future, so that we are working on, some of the policies and procedures that are required as far as operating all these facilities that are coming before us. This ones as well.
Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the policies and procedures for Parks and Recs facility between 2026 and 28 to be presented to the Board of Supervisors?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Anyone second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This, Ken seconded it. It's fine. Great, thank you.
So the next one is, I'm kind of, it's again, Carrie Runyon. So I've gone and did a lot of research regarding what we need for user fees for the new facility. Because there is going to be a financial impact one way or another, whether it's a resident versus a non-resident. If it's a contractual class, we might have to have the small fees so we can pay the contractor. So what we did was came up with a, it's called the membership card. And it grants eligible members pretty much all recreational amenities, programs, classes, facilities, contractual activities. But the use of the dog park is not included. It's a separate entity with a separate membership and fee. So this membership would include Gateway Commons, Fun Park, Sherman Soccer, and Linear Park. So, and it would be resident and non-resident. And then we also threw in there a seasonal. A lot of times people, they come here for 6 months, and that gives them an opportunity to participate as well. And you'll see the Gateway Recreation membership card, an individual resident, the annual membership, no cost. So you would get a card. If you're a non-resident, it would be $285 annually or $145 for 6 months. The family up to 4, there's no costs for the annual membership. But for a family, it'd be $385 annually or $200 for 6 months. And then each additional person for a resident would be $5, and then the resident would be a $5 guest pass. So that means if you're playing pickleball, you're going to bring a friend, one-time thing, and they want to come play pickleball, and they're only going to be here for a couple days, that you bring them, has to come with a member, though. Can't just come on their own, has to come with a member, it'd be $5. If you're, same thing with a non-resident, has to still come with a member, it'd be $5. And these were kind of like startup programs. So you're like your chair, so you have chair yoga for seniors. There would be a free or reduced rate for members. And when I mean members, I mean Gateway, the Gateway Recreation Membership Card. Okay? So it'd either be free or reduced for any of these classes that we have.
Right.
Pickleball is a big one. A membership, you obviously get a membership card if you're a resident, non-resident, you would have to pay. And then I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about this because we mentioned this on how you're going to be able to handle the resident versus non-resident. Once you have 3 or 4 residents or, want to take most of the courts or whatever. So I think starting off, and we can always make adjustments, but courts 1 to 9 would be your resident, and courts 10, 11, and 12 would be your non-resident. And that would get everybody an opportunity to participate.
To start, I think that's great.
So how would we manage that?
Yes.
Well,
You reserve them and
well, that's the other thing is we're going to be going over, once I figure out which program software we're going to use, then we'll be able to do that online. You'll be able to schedule online.
Okay. So you're going to the court.
You can reserve the court.
You can't just have open play and rotate around as the court becomes open.
Well, okay. So I mean, I have, let's step back 1 second. With management of this, right? What is the plan as far as, I understand residents versus non-residents, but is it by house? Is it by household or is it by individual? Because how are we dealing with income properties where people are renting their homes out? Right? Where the owner is a resident would leave their membership card, and now the non-resident would then have access to the owner's membership card. How are we tracking that, right? And I'm not saying you have to answer that right now, but it's a consideration as far as what does that look like, right? Because, oh, well, I get to play in the members' pickleball courts because so-and-so I'm renting from is a full-time member and, right? So
how do you manage that with the pool?
we don't. I
It
mean, we
doesn't seem
don't.
to be a problem.
But the difference is with the pool, the tenant
Right.
has a membership, has a card. And if people come and they rent their facility, they usually bring in a water bill. The water bill, if they're paying a water bill, they're considered a resident.
Right.
Okay, resident tenant. If they are coming from out of town, and they're just there for a short vacation, that's a different story.
And I think that's probably the best way to do it is manage it by the perspective of when you enroll, you need to provide your address verification.
Right,
So
and we do that
Right.
already.
So,
If
Okay.
somebody's renting a place, and I think there is a minimum requirement for renting in the county. You can't have short-term rentals.
in Lee County, you can.
You can't have short-term
In
rentals.
Gateway, you can't.
Okay,
In Lee County,
Gateway-
you can. You could have Airbnbs in Lee County.
So in Gateway, we have a restriction on the amount of time.
Correct.
And
Vary from HOA to HOA.
And it does.
Oh, well, okay, each HOA, okay. If somebody's renting a house, I think that the owner's rights would extend to the renter. And they would be considered a resident renter, whatever. They would have the same rights as a rent, as an owner, quite frankly. And that's what they're paying their rent for also. I don't know how you can distinguish.
I don't know necessarily that a rental agreement qualifies somebody to get the rights and that an owner.
They have to abide by the rules and regulations and the covenants set forth by the HOA and the CDD.
Right.
Right? So the CDD, however, does have the right to determine what those set rights are within a certain extent, right? It has to go in coordinates with 720 and all that, but it's a good question, and it's something to consider, right? Like, the bottom line is, what we don't want, I feel, is just anyone showing up saying that they're renting and here's the owner's card, right? Like, no one should be able to go to one of these facilities and say, oh, this is Paul Leogrand's card, but you're not Paul Leogrand, right? Like, that's what we're trying to avoid, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can tell you that when people come to the pool, show membership, they want a membership. And they say, well, I'm renting a house, or renting a condo for now, okay, hopefully it's for a year. They have to bring me their water bill or something that shows that they're renting that facility.
Right.
So it's a requirement to be able to get a card.
The other thing I see that's different with the resident and non-resident, we've never had a non-resident, for instance, for the pool. Never allowed that I'm aware of.
We have, in the past, we just haven't had anyone sign up.
Right. And it was before is Pelican used to be considered a non-resident. And so if they wanted to get a card, they would have to pay that fee. I think it was like $120. Yes. But now it's different. Okay. Look at me.
Yeah, Pelican's now considered residents.
Now, yes.
When a renter rents a house, in Pelican, they have to be approved.
Here too.
Okay, so at that process, could there not be a document issued?
There's a lot of steps in it though, right, Joe? I mean, that's a whole kind of separate thing as far as who's selling and who's renting. That's, for lack of a better term, I don't want to say this to pass the buck, it's like a separate department, right? So then there's a lot of communication that needs to take place with, it has to go over to parks whenever somebody rents to verify or validate, which we don't have the infrastructure for, to be honest, right now. Okay. We also don't know if they're going to want to partake in the facilities, right? So that kind of changes the whole flow of it, where we would be reaching out to everyone that was renting. That becomes unmanageable right now, I think. Maybe later down the line if we're overwhelmed and we have to control it, but not up front, right?
I think right now we're just trying to establish some guidelines here so we have something, I call it a starter package, so we have something to go by. And we'll probably have to make some adjustments here and there. It's going to be a learn by doing type of thing. Even though we've already looked at many different organizations and locations, and they primarily do it this way, and I haven't seen them change anything, but it's going to depend on our gateway itself. So
I think it makes perfect sense. I think it looks good and it's a great place to start, right? I think as we grow it and we get familiar with the membership kind of model, the ability to also expand, we're talking about those day passes and those programs, right? The ability to expand programs, and we're going to talk about this a little later in the revenue generation options that we have, will greatly help us. If we can make it smooth and easy for somebody to go to a site and sign up for something that looks interesting and pay for it right there and then get a ticket, that's perfect. That's really, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, opens up a lot.
And Carrie, this is Tamara. I would like to talk to you about the pickleball and how that's done or not done based upon the pickleball courts that I go to. Because unless you're indoors, I've never seen one that rents a court, because a lot of people don't have 3 friends that they all go to, they show up and there's bins that you put your pickleball paddles in, and the first, you put your one in, and when a court's open, those 4 go. And it's like free play that I think you would have more people show up versus if you got to book a spot and then hope there's a couple other people there to play. So just something to think about. That one might do better handled differently. I don't know. And
No,
I'd be
I-
willing to talk to you or
I'm
on the
familiar.
side about
There's
that.
different ways to do it. Let's say that we have, let's say we have a class, a pickleball class, and I need to hold 2 or 3 courts. I need to be able to hold them for that class. I will have to do something so.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
But I could always put in there free
If
play.
there's on available, yeah,
Yeah.
but free play for,
Right,
yes,
correct.
I agree.
Just
Okay.
block the time out.
So I was trying to think
Yeah.
of all the scenarios. Now, I know when people
Yep.
come in, some people put their paddles on top of each other, and when the game's over, then they move off and the next group comes, and
Yeah.
I've seen that too. So I know there's different scenarios. It's really going to depend on.
And some of them, they open it up for Special Olympics and they have pickleball for 2 hours, so they'll say they're closed for these 2 hours.
Right,
Right? And
exactly.
everybody knows there's a sign and
Right.
you don't show up.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see anything on this, but are we still considering opening it up to community first and then allowing outside?
That's why I set up the resident courts 1 to 9 and then non-resident 10 to 12. And let's say we have 10 or 11 groups and no non-residents are coming, okay?
Sure, then we could, right.
I can shift
right.
people over.
But I'm talking about signing up for the program in entirety.
We talked about it. The problem with that is we do get some of our funding from the county.
Yep, so we got to open it up.
Yes.
Yep, makes sense. Okay. Cool. I think that's really great. Thank you.
Yes, we're seeking support, so can you, we would like to get a motion
Yeah.
to move this forward to the board level for their approval to
Right.
ratify and come up with a rate structure.
That sounds good. Can we get a motion to move this up to the Board of Supervisors?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Joe seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Wonderful job, guys. Thank you.
Okay, upcoming events. So just FYI, due to the lovely, beautiful weather that we're having lately,
Bring a blanket.
it's more than a blanket. If I could put a bonfire out on the soccer field, we probably could have had the movie, but I don't think that'll be allowed. So we're
No
deciding.
metal detectors, but we could have bonfires.
So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a couple more weeks and move it on to February 21. Yeah, and that way, hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer because we were looking at the schedule and they're looking at 59 degrees at 7 o'clock when the movie starts. And by the time it ends, it's going to be well under 54. So I think it'd be a little.
Is it the same movie? Will it
Yeah,
be?
we're gonna
Okay.
have, yeah, it's a great movie. Sonic 3.
Sonic 3?
Yeah. Huh? So, I just kind of wanted to give you an update on it. And then the 14th, I'm gonna need some help. We're gonna have the Twilight Adventure, if you were not here last year. What it is we give kids flashlights or they bring their own flashlights. And it gets to twilight, and we have areas set aside for different age groups to go find their Easter eggs, okay? And there's a golden egg in each group. So we have groups of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we are going to have a special area for 3 and 4-year-olds this year. And whoever gets the golden egg has a ticket, and they get one of the Easter baskets that are being made by one of my volunteers. So we're going to have a couple vendors there. We're looking at arts and crafts. We're going to have, arts and crafts. So I'll be calling Laura again. And the EB, Easter Bunny, will be there. And be able to take pictures. Last year we had a long line, just like Santa. So So,
I have to like warm up on being an
Yes.
Easter Bunny elf too?
yeah,
Okay.
Easter Bunny elf. So
Gotcha.
it's kind of a quick, it's not a real long event, but it is fun.
Fun.
And the kids
The
just
kids
love
are
it.
out there with flashlights,
Yes.
looking for eggs.
And you should see them. They're going up and
hilarious. I
down
never
and
saw that.
sideways.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
And they're just, they love the flashlight more than they love looking
Yeah,
at
of
it.
course.
So
Being outside
it's
of-
kind of cute. It's really fun. We had our initial year last year and we had about 300 kids. So it was
That's a
fun.
great showing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So what else is happening besides the egg hunt? Is there,
Arts and crafts, EB, Easter Bunny will be there. EB,
Is
Eating
it
in
open
the house.
just to Gateway residents or
No.
whoever?
Yeah.
You'll have it advertised? Okay.
yeah, it'll be advertised and, yeah, the kids, it's quite a cute event
Sounds cute.
and they have fun, so.
Sounds excellent.
It is excellent. You're so funny.
So exciting.
Yes.
a costume for the EB?
Yes, I have a costume.
Is that really you, Paul?
No. No, I'm just gonna be the Easter Bunny fairy. I'm gonna be leading the line for the Easter Bunny photos. That's all I do. Yeah.
And then the last item is our concessionaire. We're moving into a contract for a food concessionaire at the soccer complex. His name is Zachary Young. So he doesn't have everything together yet. He's in the process of doing that with all his licenses and stuff and certification.
Oh, he's new.
He's new. He's done some background work in, down at Fort Myers Beach. He worked down there a little bit. He's done bars
Okay.
with food. And so he wants to try this and
When would this happen? For soccer?
well, they're looking at tentatively beginning the 1st, but he has to still get all his licenses approved. So we're probably hoping at the end of February.
But it would be primarily for
Any
What,
event
soccer?
that's happening over there.
Soccer, flag football,
whatever's there.
yeah, whatever's there.
Okay.
And then for events, when we have our events there, he'll be able to open up. So
Absolutely.
I'm just letting you know that's, so.
Awesome.
And then I already spoke to you guys about we're still working with the different companies for the software, and I'll be pulling a meeting, special meeting for approval to go forward with the Board of Supervisors with our software. Okay. One last thing I do want to ask, and want you all to get your opinion. The new Gateway Services, the new Gateway Commons Park and an admin building, they have not made a decision on fencing or no fencing to surround that park. So there'll be gates, kind of like there is now, like you see at the pool, but it'll be closer to the road. But they have not made a decision to you have to have a fence around the pool. That's a requirement by the health department. But the rest of it, not have a fence or have a fence. And we really need to see what your thoughts are, kind of get your opinion. You might want to,
I think from a liability standpoint, I think a fence is a
So I just want to clarify, not a fence around the entire,
Talking like a safety fence around the pool so a toddler wouldn't.
no, I'm talking about, there's already a safety fence around the pool.
Right.
That's already a given. It's an 8-foot black fence right now. But what I'm talking about is out front, let's say Gateway Boulevard, okay? It's open. It's completely open and people can walk in anytime
The complex as a whole.
as a whole. They can
Right.
walk in. They probably can bring their bikes through. They can bring their skateboards. They won't be able to drive in because there'll be double gates up, but you will be able to walk in.
We had brought this up years ago, and we had said we absolutely need security around the complex. 100%.
I agree.
I thought that was part of the plan, because I figured the 8-foot fence would probably go all the way around the perimeter.
So so no perimeter fence is what you're saying, but for the basketball court or the pickleball court, is there going to be like a?
Yes.
Yes.
Those will be
Okay,
fenced.
so there's a way to manage that,
So
just like a pool.
Pickleball and basketball.
Basketball.
But the complex as a whole,
Yes.
we're talking, so let's say we build the community pavilion, that would be exposed. People
Yes.
would just be able to get in there.
Mhm.
Like the
Correct.
waterways would be exposed.
In fact, you'll be able to
Like
get
it's
in,
said.
you'll be able to get in the backside too of Linear Park. You'll be able to walk right in. So,
But you couldn't get to those facilities that require a membership.
Correct.
correct, they'll be locked.
I mean, back and forth on it, right? I'm all about open spaces. I truly am. However, I'm also about protecting our investment, you know?
And liability.
And liability. And I understand there's a fence at the pool, that's fine, but there's going to be other things in there, and there's going to be availability for other things if we keep on expanding, that we're going to want to see who's in there. We're going to want to make sure that they have access. There's something special about living here, right? You pay a lot to live in our community. And not that I'm looking to keep people out, not at all. Come and join us, but come and join us, right? If you're coming in from another place because you know Gateway has this beautiful setup, then you need to do that the right way to partake in our amenities. I think it
Have
needs
an
a fence.
investment that we need to safeguard. And you say you're paying a lot of money. People expect it to be protected to some extent. And you also have children running around frequently. And you don't know who's infiltrating and could walk off with a child.
Right. It's about safety too, Joe. I agree 100%, right? If you're going to come into the environment and, you know, once we build a pathway around the pond all the way in the back on Linear Park, I want you to feel safe. If you want to go for a walk at dusk, you should not be worried about who's coming up behind you. So just knowing that the space, you know, is secure, I think is a great thing.
Well, Carrie, you didn't say that a decision's been made not to do it, correct? Or you saying that it just hasn't
There's-
come up yet?
Well, it's come up. It's come up, it's been bounced around from the Board of Supervisors meetings and it hasn't been decided yet. So that's why I'm talking to you all about it.
Sizable expense to
I
put
mean,
an
this is
8-foot fence around the
Parks,
perimeter.
it is.
Huge expense.
But I can tell you right now that,
It's not been factored in already.
right,
Yeah.
correct. It's
I
not
made
been
an
factored in.
assumption it had been, but
No, has not.
I thought that had been.
No, has not. So I just want to throw that out there. I want you guys to think about it. I might ask you if when we have our next software meeting again we're going to discuss it again. And we can go from there. Okay? Joe?
Really, I think this is a dumb question, but I learned a long time ago, ask them anyhow. The way the land is laid out, a fence is going to be very expensive if we go around the whole thing.
Yes.
But can it be built in sections over so that the most exposed areas have a fence and the areas that are less exposed don't have a fence? Now, I know people will say, well, why do you have a fence when people can walk around it? But if you have one that's in the most exposed areas, it'll prevent a lot of people that are just casually maybe trying to get in.
So what you're trying to say is maybe along Gateway Boulevard, where you can have all kinds of different people coming in and out, and there's tons of traffic up and down that boulevard.
Yeah.
That's what you see. When you go by, you'll be able to see everything. You'll be able to see everything.
Just as, that would be
So
a
that-
priority, and that would help
Right.
the taxpayers also.
Right. That's why I'm discussing this with you. Come up with
Yeah,
ideas.
I think that's something to throw out.
Okay.
Who knows where the board will go with that, but there's a financial issue, and there typically is, that could be one way to alleviate some of that and still get a fence built. Say it takes you 3 years to build the whole fence.
Right.
Most important parts, and then you get around and finally.
I appreciate that. I do. My concern is, listen, let's be honest, if somebody wants to get in, they're going to get in anyway, right? Fence, no fence, whatever.
Trespass. Yeah.
Right. Somebody really wants. So we invest the money to put it on Gateway Boulevard. We'll get in someplace else. If they look, they're going to get in someplace else.
Sure.
So was it wise investing that money when it really doesn't help us protect the investment until 3?
I think it gives you some partial.
It
it's
gives
a
you a
visual-
deterrent.
Visual
It-
effect that people see.
Deterrent.
It gives you a deterrent.
But I can tell you, I totally agree. When I was a kid growing up, there was a golf course across the street. Not that we had a lot of money. The golf course was very cool to tell us we weren't invited.
Right.
Chain link fence went up, strands of barbed wire on top.
Yeah. Now it's a challenge.
The challenge lasted 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean, we all could climb over, and we got caught golfing in there. I couldn't tell you how many times. So, anybody can get over it, and even putting barbed wire on didn't stop us kids. If it wasn't a hole underneath, we just knew how to climb right over the barbed wire.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
think you're right.
it's a good point.
So like I said, I want you to think about it.
Well, I think if the community had an issue with it, we'll hear about it. So maybe just let it lay and see what what people's opinion is.
There is no sidewalk on Gateway Boulevard.
Side.
My
that's
fear
gonna be
is
an issue.
kids at night exiting onto the street.
Right.
Traffic is going way too fast.
Right. Because we're going to have things
I'm
there
really
now.
concerned about that.
And the
Then we
fence,
have to think
about it.
and the fence would help deter them to that exit.
So maybe from a safety perspective, going back to Joe, right? Bless you, even if we don't build the whole thing around it, right? At least from Gateway Boulevard, now it addresses the safety concern. So I think there's a lot of discussion to be had. I'm going
Okay.
to think about it.
Then one last thing I need you to understand. So Thursday, February 5th. What'd you do? Okay. There's a public workshop, Board of Supervisors public workshop at 2:00. It is for rule development for proposed Chapter 7 of the district rules regarding parks and towing on the district parking facilities and other district property, and establishing a fee schedule for resident and non-resident use of district parking facilities. 2:00.
2:00, February 5th?
Yeah.
This Thursday.
So what are the district parking facilities? What is
That's what we're
that?
talking about. That's what we're voting, that's what they're voting on.
February 5th,
Identifying them?
and that's here?
I mean, is that like right out here, parking right here,
Implementing
parking
the-
at soccer fields, at the pool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to address this. So on this topic and what's happening on the 5th, they're voting to bring in, and Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, they're voting to bring in parking process where people will be charged to park at Sherman for any event that takes place over here. It's an hourly fee. They're going to have, each vehicle is going to be charged, and residents, non-residents, it's all the same, correct?
Correct.
So
So
they're voting. on
that being said,
February 5th.
they're voting on that on February 5th. I'm sorry, Bill, I didn't mean to interrupt. But that being said, we spoke about it last month, and
Wait a minute, Paul. The workshop is to discuss it. They don't vote until
Okay.
they have the meeting, which will be at 3:00.
3:00, same day. They're talking about it at 2, they're voting at it at 3, this Thursday.
Got it.
Okay, so that being said, I thought about this for the past few weeks and put together an analysis of why, and I mean, no surprise, I think we all agreed last time we spoke about this, it's a bad idea. but I put my thoughts together on why it's a bad idea. And I feel that we could discuss it here. If we want to make changes, we can, but we need something formal to present to them at this workshop. Now, we are not able to get on the agenda as a committee addressing the Board of Supervisors. However, we can give this, whatever we finalize today, we could put it in, I could put it in the notes for the meeting minutes to present to them so they have it, and then we can make public comment. So we could come to this and we could stand up and we could say, we sent you this article, this is how we feel as a committee, and these are the reasons why we don't think you should do that. Okay, so just kind of, there's a few ways we could do this. We could, you all have copies, hard copies. I could read through it if you want it in the meeting minutes. It's up to you.
Why don't we do that? We can go through.
You want me to read through it?
I think we can do it pretty quickly, and I
Okay.
think we had a very good conversation on it last month.
Okay, we'll try and get through it quickly, okay? So in that way, people out here could hear it too. So now, analysis of the proposed parking fees at Sherman Soccer Complex and alternative revenue strategies. So the Gateway Community Development District has proposed implementing a parking fee program at Sherman Soccer Complex for families attending their children's practices and sports activities. While the Board of Supervisors suggests these programs will generate revenue, the Parks and Recreations Committee has expressed significant concern about the potential negative impacts on the community. This document provides a comprehensive analysis of these concerns, supported by research and case studies, and presented a range of alternative revenue-generated strategies that are better aligned with community interests and values. So the first part is the negative community impacts of the proposed parking fees. The introduction of parking fees at a public recreational facility like Sherman can have a far-reaching and detrimental effect on the community. These impacts extend beyond simple financial considerations and can affect community health, equity, and public sentiment. So financial burdens on families. Youth sports already represent a significant financial commitment for many families. The average American family spends $1,016 on their child's primary sport, and that was in 2024. That's up 46% from 2019. For many of these costs, it's a significant strain, with 56% of parents expressing concern that they will be unable to afford their children's sports in the coming year. Adding an additional fee, even if seemingly a small one, acts as a regressive tax that disproportionately affects low to middle income families. Research will show that a $5 daily user fee at a public park would deter approximately 49% of lower income individuals compared to 33% of higher income individuals. Still, 33% is not good. And what are we looking to charge per event?
We're looking at, I think it was $2 an hour.
Per hour.
Okay, $2 per hour. So an event is typically going to be 2.5 to 3 hours. We're above that 5% or that $5 mark, right? Okay. This creates a pay-to-play environment that can exclude children from the beneficial activities simply because their families cannot afford another fee. As one article poignantly states, no more hidden fees. Parking, food, and entry costs shouldn't break the bank. This has a negative impact on the community health and child development as well. Public parks and recreational facilities are vital for community health. Free and open access to these spaces encourage physical activity, fosters social cohesion, and improves mental well-being. The San Diego Union Tribune, in an article about a similar controversial parking fee proposed in Balboa Park, noted that access to green spaces is linked to a wide range of positive health outcomes for children, including better motor conditioning, improved sleep, and lower rates of obesity and depression. We're going to make it unobtainable for people to continue to participate in their sports. That's what we're looking to propose here. So continuing on, by creating a financial barrier to entry, parking fees can discourage families from using Sherman Soccer Complex, leading to more sedentary behavior among children and reducing the health benefits. An American Journal of Public Health has published studies indicating that even small fees can significantly reduce participation in youth sports, particularly among lower income families. Then we're talking about staffing and enrollment challenges. So the assumption that parking fees will yield a net financial gain for the CDD is not certain. The cost of implementing and managing a parking fee program can be substantial, potentially exceeding the revenue generated. A case study in Los Angeles parking enforcement program revealed that it has operated at a significant deficit, costing the city $374 million more in fines than it's collected since 2016. So that's not that is one individual site, but I found 10 of them. That's the same thing. Even if this is successful, the odds are against us where it will start generating revenue until way down the line. Okay. These costs include staffing. When we're talking about what we're going to need to put into place to make this work, staffing, salaries, benefits, liabilities, right? Because people are going to be somehow directing traffic or making a determination if you are or are not parked correctly. Pulling current staff off of duties to support this, right? You have a limited staff that currently has job responsibilities and duties. Now they're going to have to somehow find time to move over to this. Modifications to current staff, scope of work, which will need significant reworking of job descriptions, job responsibilities, and adjustments to pay and hours. Then we're talking about changes to equipment, purchase, installation, maintenance of the parking meters and the pay stations, processing, administrative costs for handling payments, appeals, and collections, because no one's going to freely pay their fines. So who is going to manage that? What do their hours look like? Are we going to pay them? Are we going to have to hire additional staff for those people? Enforcement, the operational costs of patrolling lots and issuing citations. And we talked about this, and this is really upsetting to me personally because I know the staff, and the idea that we're going to send our current staff out into a parking lot to tell somebody that they're parked incorrectly and have to deal with that is sickening. Furthermore, staffing and parking enforcement programs can be challenging. The Los Angeles case study highlighted difficulties in filling vacant positions and noted the enforcement officers are often diverted to other tasks, reducing their capacity to issue citations and generate revenue. So in other words, what they're saying there is that their staff quit because it was too stressful to handle these regulations. So violation, moderation, and follow-through. A parking fee program inevitably leads to violations, which in turn require a system for monitoring and enforcing those violations. This can create a significant administrative burden, including handling appeals. What's the fair system that requires a process for individuals to contest citations, which can be time-consuming and costly to administrators. Managing collections. Pursuing unpaid fines can be difficult and often fruitless endeavor, requiring additional staff, time, and resources. Inconsistent enforcement. Insufficient staffing can lead to inconsistent enforcement, which may be perceived as unfair to the community and undermine the program's legitimacy. Negative community feedback and backlash. The implementation of parking fees at public parks has a well-documented history of provoking strong negative community feedback. The Balboa Park in San Diego is a prime example in which the introduction of parking fees was met with widespread anger, public protests, and even vandalism at pay stations. The backlash was so significant, the city officials were forced to reconsider the policy. I'm not saying that we're going to go and vandalize our stuff, but clearly this is a poignant example of how upset people were with these additional fees. Such negative sentiments can erode the community's trust in the CDD and foster a contentious relationship between residents and the board. The perception that the CDD is prioritizing revenue over community well-being can have long-lasting, damaging consequences. I believe that 100%. Here's part 2. Thank you for bearing with me. We're almost through. Alternative revenue generating strategies. Fortunately, there are numerous alternative revenue generating strategies that can provide the necessary funding for the Sherman Soccer Complex without placing an undue burden on families or creating a negative impact associated with parking fees. These strategies are not only more community friendly, but also enhance the park visitor experience. Concessions and vending. One of the most common and effective revenue streams in sports complexes are food and beverage sales. This can be achieved by operating concession stand. The CDD could directly manage a concession stand and retain the profits from that. Participating or partnering with local vendors. The CDD could lease space to local food trucks or other vendors, collecting a percentage of their sales or a flat rental fee for other events that are taking place. And fees for premium events and activities. While charging for regular practices or games is problematic, it is reasonable to charge fees for premium events and activities that offer additional value. And these could include specialized sports camps and clinics. These programs often feature professional coaches and intensive training and may charge registration fees, for example. Large-scale tournaments. Tournaments that attract teams from outside the community may include team registration fees to cover referee costs, field preparation, and other expenses. Forgive me, I'm not really familiar with the programs, the sporting programs that they have now. They may have some of these in place where we're generating revenue, but maybe we could revisit that and see if we could generate more revenue from that. Maybe we could offer more tournaments, right? Sponsorship and advertising. Local businesses are often eager to connect with the families who frequent the Sherman Soccer Complex. The CDD can leverage this by offering a variety of sponsorship and advertising opportunities such as banners and signage, selling advertising spaces on fences, scoreboards, or other visible locations. We don't have a scoreboard over there, right? Okay, but other visible locations. Website and newsletter advertising, featuring sponsors on the CDD's website and in community newsletters. Naming rights, offering naming rights for the field benches that we could install or even an entire complex for a significant contribution, right? This event is sponsored by this company. Facility and equipment rentals. Sherman Soccer Complex is valuable community asset that can generate revenue during off-peak hours as well. The CDD could rent out the field, lease fields to adult leagues, corporate groups, or other organizations for a fee. Why don't we have a senior soccer program?
We have an adult. Yeah.
Senior, I mean not junior, sorry.
My age.
We have an over 18.
Over 18,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
I think over
You need one over 75.
I don't have the
Senior
seniors.
plus.
No super seniors.
I'd say it was 75.
You're right. Where did I leave off? Rent out equipment, right? Offer rentals for soccer balls, goals, and other equipment. So creative and community-oriented ideas. There are many other creative ways to generate revenue while also enhancing the community experience. These includes birthday party packages, offering packages that include field time, decorations or amenities, memorial programs, allowing families to purchase a memorial bench or a tree in honor of a loved one. You have premium education experiences that focus on providing services to community members and could range from home economics focused topics such as cooking, knitting, general home maintenance topics, all the way up to the sports, right? We could use that space, charge additional fees there to generate income for those that want to partake in those events. So conclusion, the proposal to implement parking fees at the Sherman Soccer Complex, while well-intentioned in its goal of generating revenue, is fraught with potential negative consequences. It would place an additional financial burden on families, potentially reducing participation in healthy activities and create significant administrative and enforcement challenges. The strong likelihood of negative community backlash further suggests that this is not a prudent course of action at this time, and the Gateway Parks and Recreation Advisory Board strongly recommends against it. In contrast, the alternative revenue generation strategies outlined in this document offer a path forward that is both financially responsible and community-centric. By focusing on concessions, premium events, sponsorships, and creative partnerships, the Gateway CDD can generate the necessary revenue to maintain and improve the Sherman Soccer Complex without alienating the very residents it's meant to serve. It is a strong recommendation of the Parks and Rec Committee that the Board of Supervisors rejects the proposed parking program and instead pursue an alternative revenue generating strategy detailed in this analysis.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. You tell them why we don't believe it's good, and you give them an opportunity to look at things that can make it work in a what different way and get money for them.
Right.
One thing I did think about was just time used to check cars in. You have to have some sort of a ticketing mechanism so that there's a timestamp. And these soccer matches, when they're over, there's a fair amount of people leaving all at one time. And now you got to go through and process a ticket that says, you've been here for 3 hours and 15 minutes, and this is your fee. How are you going to pay? Most people today only use credit cards, so you got to have a processing equipment to process a credit card to pay for it. Nobody wants to deal with cash. Think about the time just to get out of a parking lot and the traffic in the parking lot, but then the traffic load on the street also as people are trying to exit out. I think that's another huge consideration that they need to be giving consideration to. How do you deal with that?
Paul, thank you for putting that together. That's
Yeah,
really
I think it's
brilliant.
excellent.
Good job.
And it really captures everything that we talked about, but a lot of things that you creatively came up with, which is wonderful. I still have one question. Paul, I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I still don't know the expenses on that particular field. And I know that the board is and genuinely concerned about the shortfall, but I don't know what it is. And I'd like to, maybe we can talk about that at some point, but
Because I know
Bit of a
that's been
mystery.
brought up in the past, maybe a couple. Laura has presented that to the board, and with, funding options, because I believe the goal was originally 75% recovery is what they're trying to achieve.
Okay.
But I failed to remember what that dollar amount, what that deficit is that they're
Right.
trying to make up with the
I
parking.
mean, the percentage would be helpful,
Right.
actually, if that's their target. That means that the community is kicking in 25%. They're not looking for 100%.
Yeah, right. They're not looking for
And
100%.
That's good. I mean, I think it's reasonable that, look at tangible aspect. To me, the intangibles are huge, because that's what Paul's talking about too. And that is community buy-in and the fact helping sponsor these activities and getting more and more kids involved, more and more. That's a huge plus. So that's an intangible. That's not a dollar. So the better we know what they're aiming, what their target is I think working that.
I think that will be discussed on Thursday during the workshop, because I know that's a point of issue or focus for the board, is to try to make up that deficit amount by implementing the parking fee.
It's Sherman, by the way. It's a Sherman.
General.
General Sherman. Tecumseh, Sherman.
He's the one that started the programs way back
Okay.
for these kids.
All right. I mean, I know that when stadiums.
My whole stance is that, to Bill's point, we can, once we learn what the amount is, we should be able to benefit us as opposed to punishing people.
Yeah, just one other thing on that. I think originally, whenever I heard the topic about charging for parking, it was limited. I was thinking to soccer fields, but the way it was presented here, it's all district parking. So you think of the person maybe who goes to water aerobics 3 times a week or 4 times a week. So now it's free to them today. Tomorrow, it might be costing them $60 a month. And some of our residents, probably aren't going to be too happy about that either. So just something to think about. It's no longer, from what I'm seeing in that statement, It's no longer soccer fields that we thought a lot of it
Yeah.
was non-resident. It's now everything and anything that any member goes to at that facility. If you're going to work out 3 times a week or whatever, it's going to cost you now.
I saw that and I started to get hot over it, but let's see what they say on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Agree.
We've given them good alternatives, and that's critically important.
Community is paying already
Already.
a lot of money through not ad valorem,
Taxes.
from, you name it.
They're not a
So
poor community.
they do not want to be nickel and dimed.
We need a motion to put this forward, or is it
I
just?
think that was a heads up, that their
was a heads
meeting
up.
is Thursday,
Yeah, that's-
an hour early for the Board of Supervisors meeting, if you want to hear that discussion.
That was an update, yes.
Oh, but you're talking
To
about for
present
the,
this.
to put your thing
I mean,
in.
to present it to them, I don't
Yeah.
think we,
I think we all
It-
pretty
I think
much
it's
agree.
too late to get it on the
yeah.
agenda,
the-
but we can come with it.
They're going to discuss it. I think we can.
Unless anyone has
We can
anything-
hand it out to them. It's part of the
Right.
discussion.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
it's part of discussion.
Public comment,
So
yes.
the reason I brought it up here is so that we could all have a discussion on it if I missed anything
Are
or
there
left
key
anything out.
points that maybe if 5 of us show up, I'll take this one as a public comment, you take that one, because you only get, what,
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
3 minutes?
So
We're
we
gonna
could
have to break it up. How
assign-
long did it take me to read through it, Carrie, do you know?
Probably 10.
This will be entered as part of record today, so.
It will be, right, it'll be in the
Right.
minutes in the transcript today, and I'm gonna present it word for word in the report that I send to them this afternoon, so.
Okay, okay.
Maybe we could just address the bullet points.
The key points.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
split it out and.
You might want to add Zach Young as some
Gotcha, yeah.
session in vending.
Yeah.
Because that's some progress already on that.
They're meeting at 2:00 to discuss it and then vote on it an hour later. Just so that I'm clear.
So
Yeah.
it's not in the agenda to vote on it, but they can walk it on to the agenda after the workshop if they want to.
Wait, Carrie, what'd you say? Say that again?
It's not on the set agenda, we looked, but they can walk it onto the agenda for that day if they want to at 3:00.
They don't often do that. They pretty much stick to whatever the agenda is, and we'll say if it's not on the agenda.
Unless they know that there's an issue with it and they don't want any pushback.
Look at the basketball court. Now granted, it
They
was a
can
safety
absolutely
issue,
move it
but
up.
you
If
make a
they
decision right
Watch this
away.
video, people are going to see that there's,
I was at the last board meeting, and I think they're anxious to have some closure on this. That's my impression.
We'll have to do some backroom lobbying. You got a cigar?
All right, you want to close this down?
yeah, so set the, let's see.
March
Oh,
3rd.
March 3rd is the next meeting, that's already taken care of, 1:30 PM. All right.
Do a second public comment.
Oh, second public comment, I'm sorry, is there any public comment? No?
Buddy?
Anyone online?
Nope.
No?
Can
Any
we give our,
additional?
can we give our general
yes,
public?
go ahead.
Sorry. Sure. Yeah. Come
Yeah,
up to the
grab
podium
here.
if you could, thank you.
We'll give you all an applause.
My name's Baron Steckler. I actually work with premium parking, so I just wanted to sit in and listen to you guys. Is there a way to get a copy of your statements so that I could talk?
They are going to be publicly placed up on the website.
Oh.
So,
Or they can contact the main office.
or you could contact the main office.
Read this.
Yeah, no, yeah, so it's on the gateway, what's the actual site?
Gateway
Gateway
CDD services.
Services.org.
Gateway Services, now you got me.
Gatewaydistrict.org.
Yeah, gatewaydistrict.org.
District.org, yeah.
So it takes a few
You're messing
days,
me
you'll be
up.
able to find the meeting minutes, and that's why I read it, so the transcript will be there. Yeah.
And you know where the main office is. so
Yes.
you- yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else? Any other, I'm sorry, staff updates? No?
Nope, no more.
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
10 seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good meeting. meeting.